my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper. My heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper. My soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper. My soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love grow deeper. My love grow deeper into my God. And when we all pray, we know our love goes deeper. We can feel our love as it goes deeper into our God. Right here, right now, right where we are, we pray. Right here, right now, right where we are, right where we are, we pray.
Please join me in prayer. We give thanks for this day as we explore moving from good to great to grand to becoming that greater expression of the one power that permeates all creation, that one perfect life that each and every one of us are a part of here. We give thanks for all who've come together to make this service possible, for everyone that is here in this sanctuary, in this beautiful space, for all who are within the sound of my voice. We give thanks for our musician, Karen. We give thanks for our AV person, Brenna. We give thanks for our hospitality team, for our practitioners, and we definitely give thanks for our Dennise, who's going to deliver a message that everyone within the sound of my voice needs to hear, for our highest best good, for our growth, and for our expansion as unique expressions of the divine. I know that all that takes place here is divinely guided and perfect and will work as the Spirit intends for it to. I give humble thanks for everyone in this space, for everyone within the sound of my voice, and for this wonderful life that we've been given by that one divine source that is in, around us, working through us, as us. I release these words into the divine law, knowing that it is already done at the intersection of right here and right now. I let this go. I let it be. And together we affirm, and so it is. Our first words of inspiration today come from Esther and Jerry Hicks. When you change the things you look at, the things we look at change. From Emmett Fox. So the child has this insatiable curiosity, the ceaseless desire to see everything everywhere and to handle and experiment with everything. We call it play or getting into mischief, but it really means tasting and investigating life. From our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes. Humans are made to be companions of the infinite. But to arrive at this exalted being, they must have their freedom and be let alone to discover their own nature. To return love to the Creator only when they choose to do so.
Today, the good to great to grand, the inner landscape. We are very blessed to be part of Centers for Spiritual Living. At the beginning of every year, they lay out a theme for the whole year. And this year, if you haven't seen it or heard it before, it's a grand rising, the grand rising of the whole organization. And also every month, they have some of these amazing ministers, this amazing group of people, mostly volunteers, well, all volunteers, that have a great idea or they read a great book, and they put together talk titles and talk outlines and give us some quotes to work from. So just in case you thought any of this was brilliant and came up with all of this on our own, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Today we're going to talk about the inner landscape. But before we do, I spoke with Karen and with some of the practitioners earlier, and we're going to start doing laying out some new stuff. For June, we're going to make that a membership drive month. I don't know, because I've never been approached or know how you become a member of New Dawn. So we're working on that. So some of you may or may not be members. You may have done some formal paperwork or said an oath or done something to become a member, and we're going to honor that. We're going to honor that the middle of June with a recommitment Sunday, where we're going to go over what it means to be a member of New Dawn. And that same Sunday, we're going to open up and do a new member class for new people, because there are some of you here today, there's some that have been here with us for a while, right, Heather? But don't know anything more about it. So we're going to lay that out in June as well, so start looking forward to that. Also, We went a couple weeks ago down to Colorado Springs to watch Rev Jen talk, and because we were all there for the first time, they gave us flowers. And I thought that was just really cool. Well, next week, everybody gets flowers, because I don't remember or know who's been here for how long. How would I know any of that? But we're going to bring flowers next week, and then we'll have flowers every week. If you bring a guest, you bring a neighbor or a good friend just to introduce them to us and what we teach and share with them, you will get honored and your friend will get a flower, and maybe they'll come back every Sunday for more and bring a friend of their own. All of this is to say this, what we talked about on Easter Sunday, how this is a new dawn for New Dawn, recreating, reworking, rebirthing New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living into something good to great to grand. We're going to start adding more chairs so we can add more seats in the seats. That's the way we're headed towards, and I hope all of you get excited about that and bring a buddy. Bring someone who hasn't been here for a long time and reintroduce them to all the great stuff that we're doing around here. Sound like a plan? So today's talk title is The Inner Landscape. And I'm afraid you guys are probably thinking that I sound like a broken record or I have ulterior motives or something like that, because I spoke in December and it was a lot about spiritual practice. And I spoke on Easter, and that again was a lot about spiritual practice. And I bet you can't guess what I'm going to talk about today. You guessed it, spiritual practice. But why? Why is this something that I choose to talk about no matter what the topic or the talk title is? Because I am absolutely passionate about spiritual practice. And spiritual practice can mean you sit on a meditation cushion for 45 minutes every morning and again in the evening. Or it can mean a walk in nature. It can mean so many things. It's what feeds you. So, I'm passionate about it, and I figure if I share all these different ideas about spiritual practice, all of you can jump on that bandwagon and create your own set of spiritual practices. But today, since we're talking about the inner landscape, we're going to talk a little differently. We're going to talk more about the real inner landscape. We're going to talk about going just a little deeper. Now, those beautiful guidelines CSL sends us, I'm going to read some of them to you. The global theme for this month is good to great to grand. So for the month, we're going to talk about self-actualization and collective actualization as we personally, internally work this program of self-actualization. And we come to community and we bring guests and we share it. We're activating that community collective actualization. So by exploring our inner landscape, we begin to take stock of the values that we aspire to. Now we all have some pretty standard integrity, honesty, compassion. I believe anybody sitting in this room subscribes to those particular values. But there's some other deeper values that we may have or may not have that we really want to dig into and find out about. So, by exploring our inner landscape, we can begin to take stock of those values that we aspire to, how we are living by those values, and what we can do better. As we gain clarity around who we are and the space we want to live from, we can begin to create spaces and opportunities for others to do the same. The impact of this process on our collective experience will support our continued vision of a world that works for everyone, and everyone is empowered to express and live authentically. I spoke earlier about the CSL global theme for the year was Grand Rising, but CSL's mission statement for years has been creating a world that works for everyone. But how do we go about creating a world that works for everyone if our own world isn't working quite the way we want it at the moment. So I have some ideas, some practices. But first, let's take a look at this. Isn't that interesting, right? And I saw this meme on social media a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was perfect for today, even if the picture seemed a little creepy. I guess I could have taken the quote out of the picture, but then when I looked at it a little more, I decided it wasn't so bad. It says, as humans, our greatest journey is to venture inward, across the bridge to our very own soul. So, what are these deeper spiritual practices? Observation, curiosity, discovery. I thought it was very fitting, and we didn't even coordinate that, Russell and I, that he had the quote in there from Emmett Fox about children and curiosity, about children and having to experience everything. You guys know, or most of you do, I have these two foster kids, right? They're 5 and 7. Yesterday, for the very first time, I took them to Elitch Gardens. They had never been to Elitch Gardens or even a fair before. It was just absolutely chaotic. At Elitch's yesterday, everybody was there activating their season passes. But Tommy and Addie, I wish I could bottle what they experienced, because they were in such awe. They had never seen anything like this before. They had seen a Ferris wheel from the road, but they had never been up close to one. Tommy immediately said, I am not going on that. And his little daredevil sister said, can we do that next? We're saving it for the next trip because it was a long line for the Ferris wheel. But the curiosity, they wanted to see everything. They wanted to touch everything. They wanted to taste everything. They wanted to experience every little piece and part of Elitch Gardens yesterday, and we only had 2 hours in our parking spot for them to do that. So that's why we got season passes. We can do that once a week, and they get to experience something new, something completely out of the realm, something they never would have experienced before. And it's beautiful. But to take that same curiosity that Emmett Fox was teaching about, or that I witnessed on those children's faces yesterday, what if we turned that inward? What if we turned that curiosity towards our own self, towards our own thoughts, towards our own feelings around those thoughts? So observation, I tend to call it third-person observation for myself. Have you ever been in a situation where it's like you're outside of yourself, observing your thoughts, observing your feelings, and able to question why you might be thinking and feeling the way you're thinking and feeling? That experience is available to us at any time, if we just attempt to slow things down for a moment. It happens to most of us quite naturally when there's a traumatic experience going on. I remember with great clarity the moment I got the phone call that my father had passed away. I remember with great clarity other times when there was some trauma going on, and all I could do was just stop. Everything stopped. But it could also happen outside of a traumatic experience. My memory and the clarity around the memory of when I got to catch my granddaughter, where I got to be the first hands that ever touched that baby as she moved from the inside to the outside. It was beautiful. Most of us call those moments surreal. What if we strive to have those moments intentionally? What if we strive to have those moments on a day-to-day basis where there is no trauma and there doesn't have to be any grand arrival? It can just be what we're doing now. Like the feelings and thoughts you have when you see a beautiful sunset or smell a flower. It can be what we call mindfulness, only enhanced mindfulness, where we go deeper within ourselves to explore why that means what it does. When we smell that flower and ask ourselves, not only for what that flower smells like, but how we feel when we smell that flower, the memories it evokes. What are we thinking in that moment when we drive past that first lilac hedge in the springtime? To have some of those, do we think about having some of those flowers handy, picking a few and leaving them on the kitchen table so that we can smell them while we eat? Taking some to a friend who may not be feeling so wonderful today. What about those thoughts and feelings, and what drives those? Once we've made those observations of ourselves, it's time to become really curious. Why do we feel that way when we smell them? Did we have a beautiful hedge of those fragrant beauties in our yard as a child growing up? I did. And I remember in the spring loving just to be in the backyard for the smell and the look and the color. I kind of like purple, and the ones in our backyard were purple. I also remember plucking the little blossoms and sucking the nectar from the end. Those kinds of memories. But what makes them what they are for us? What makes them so important? What drives us from those memories? Does it only take me back? Does it make me stop and cherish the moment when I see them now? And for what it is, this moment, this now moment. What intention do I set from there when I see those? I saw a beautiful hedge of lilacs the other day, and I was out cleaning my front yard. We have a hedge that runs across the north end of our yard that's been there for more than 20 years. It's not looking so swift anymore. And I saw that hedge of lilacs, and I saw this picture. I saw another couple pictures of lilacs, and I told Wes, I said, I think it's time to tear out those bushes and plant some lilacs. I think so. So let's all collectively take a moment and close our eyes and think of that beautiful favorite flower. Maybe yours is Grandma's rose bushes. Grandpa's iris garden is one for me. Or my other grandfather's dill field, because he made the best dill pickles with homegrown cucumbers. And the smell of that dill when it was growing is just beautiful. It's almost as beautiful as the smell of flowers. My oldest son took it upon himself to get this full sleeve tattoo. And every inch of that tattoo is all of his loved ones' favorite flowers. He has my iris and my lilacs. He has his wife's daisies. He has a dinner plate dahlia that covers his entire shoulder. And on the back of his arm, he even has that dill weed, because that's a precious reminder to him of that man that was so special. So when you close your eyes and imagine that smell, and you stand back in your mind and you observe those thoughts and those feelings around that thought, and what are they? Are they thoughts and feelings and longings of a different time when you could be back in that moment? Why? What was so special about that moment? What is it that you want to bring back from that moment? Become curious, and then let that curiosity become discovery, where you discover something about yourself. Maybe you discover the values and ways of being that you derived from that experience of the lilac hedge, or Grandma's roses, or Grandpa's garden, and the lessons that you learned, and how you've carried those forward, and how you treat people the same or differently based on those experiences experiences. That's where you can find your values, not just the textbook values, but those deeper values. Those deeper values about sharing those experiences with others. What did you carry forward? Did you carry forward a sense of strong family commitment and connection? Did you carry forward a love of gardening or disdain for yard work? Do you always need some fresh flowers somewhere in the house? I do. What can you learn about who you are and how you live from one simple fragrance? Just that one simple fragrance. So now let's multiply that towards the thousands of experiences we have in a day. And I don't expect myself or anyone else in this room to go back and literally try to be in that moment and observe the thoughts and observe the feelings and discover what that means about us and who our values, what our values are, and how we want to carry those forward and share them with the world. But we can do it once a day, part of your daily meditation practice. Perhaps for you, for me, another one is that first smell of the fresh coffee at 5:30 in the morning. What's it going to feel like to have that warm liquid in my mouth go down my throat? It warms everything back up. It makes it easier to talk. It makes it easier to breathe. Brings us something. My memories around coffee go back to my grandparents again. And I had to be 12 before they would let me have a cup of that delicious coffee. And when I first had it, I did not like it at all. But it was something I wanted so bad for so long that was going to make me a grown-up. I would fit in with the grown-ups. So they added cream and sugar. Does it have to have cream and sugar to taste good? Not for me anymore. I don't eat or drink sugar in any form. But the cream is a necessary part of the coffee for me. And it's even better when Starbucks makes it. I don't know why. So just take a moment on a day-by-day basis. Pick one thing. Pick something brand new to observe and get curious about and discover something. Or take something you do every day and observe yourself while you're doing that. Observe those thoughts and those feelings and what they mean about who you are. Why? What makes it so special to come here and share community? There are so many faces here that are here, rain or shine, every Sunday. And I am, A, grateful for that, but B, there's something here. There's something that we can observe, not only in our community, but also with the people that we commune with. We love to hear Karen sing. I love the feeling of petting Herbie when he comes in the morning as well. There are so many beautiful things that we get to do, that we get to try new things and observe ourselves and what that means. So that is the alchemy of our inner landscape, just another piece and part of that spiritual practice that I'm going to keep harping on. I'll be back next month, and we'll talk about a different spiritual practice, I would imagine. But that's what makes us who we are. That's what makes this teaching so vitally important. And as we understand ourselves, our values, and our way of being, we can challenge what needs to be challenged, and we can embrace the beauty of the rest. That alchemy, that beautiful alchemy, what makes us us. I think I have another slide in here, but I can't remember why. There it is. Self-observation is the first step of inner unfolding. When we can observe ourselves, we have made a giant step. So let us have a prayer today. Oh, the beauty of community and the beauty of this spiritual practice we call prayer. As Karen sang about before we started the talk, every activity of every day is a prayer. Every word we utter is a prayer. Every thought we think. As we pray and as we observe those thoughts and feelings that make us who we are, that point to our value, that realign our spiritual compass, we get to take part in the beautiful becoming, not only of ourselves and not only of this spiritual community, but of the community at large, of this world community. As we change ourselves, as Russell said, as we change what we look at, the way we look at things changes, something like that. Lost the quote in there. But as we keep moving deeper and deeper into this spiritual practice and we keep evolving our spiritual selves, we evolve the entire community, the entire world. And we do create that world that works for everyone. So being ever so grateful for all of you, for this community, for this beautiful teaching, and for the ways we get to move forward. I am just so blessed. We are all so blessed. So knowing that, I just release this into that alchemy of love and law that makes it so. And so it is.
I loved hearing about curiosity and discovery. And I want to take you back to something I didn't know. I never watched Peter Pan, but recently I heard this song and I wish I would have written it. And I want to sing it to you because you'll know it too. Thank God you're old enough to know it too. And it talks to where we were today. I know a place where dreams are born and time is never planned. It's not on any chart. You must find it in your heart. Never, never land. Isn't that right? It might be miles beyond the moon, or right here where you stand. Just keep an open mind, and suddenly you'll find it. Never, never land. You'll find a treasure if you stay here, more precious far than gold. And once you find your way here, you will never, never grow old. And that's the way the dreams are born and time is never a plan. Just think of lovely things. Let your heart fly on wings to never, never land. You'll find a treasure if you stay here, more precious far than gold. And once you find your way here, you will never, never grow old. And that's the way the dreams are born, and time is never planned. Just be glad we can go deep inside, learn new things, you and I. It's all about never, never land. Just think of lovely things. Let your heart fly on wings. Ah, yes. To never